Welcome to Fish on Fridays. I'm Al McCauley, and if you were to look at a liturgical calendar in the month of February, and you look specifically at the date of February 14th, you wouldn't find what you would expect. You would think you would find St. Valentine, but you would be wrong. Who you're going to find instead is the feast days of two 9th century brothers named Cyril and Methodius. Now you might say, well, what happened to St. Valentine? Now, I did an episode on St. Valentine a while back, but if you look at the archives of Fish on Fridays, you will find out all you want to know about Valentine. But the short of it is this: in 1969, Pope Paul VI at the time and a commission had ruled that there were several saints on the liturgical calendar that they were going to take off. It doesn't mean they're not real. It doesn't mean that we can't have a devotion to them. It does mean that they were what's called apocryphal. We don't have enough history to support their being on the calendar. So if you have a personal devotion of these saints, you may certainly keep praying to them. However, as far as the liturgical calendar goes, we're going to put people on there that we have actual proof of their historical living and life and dying. And so Cyril and Methodius is who you're going to find on February 14th. And that's what I want to talk about today. These two wonderful brothers. They're 9th century brothers. They're theologians from the Byzantine church, from the Eastern church. And they're just remarkable missionaries. In fact, today we refer to them as the apostle to the Slavs because they took the idea of Christianity to places it had never been to before. You know, it's interesting, in the end of Matthew's gospel at chapter 28, Jesus says, spread the gospel to all the earth, go to all the peoples. And so Cyril and Methodius are going to do that to the Czechs, to the Poles, to the Russians. They're going to take the gospel message to these people who had not been catechized in Christianity, certainly not to this extent. And so they're going to be remarkably successful in that endeavor. So I want to talk about these two guys. Cyril is the younger of the two, Methodius is older. So if you look at them in iconography and paintings, typically the one that's younger is going to be Cyril. And Cyril is almost always going to be holding what looks like a parchment, a piece of paper, a scroll of sorts with letters on it. Letters of what we call now the Cyrillic alphabet. Cyrillic because it's named after Cyril. He invented this alphabet so that they both could communicate better with the Slavic people. And it's the oldest Slavic alphabet that we have in human history. But it was used to translate the four Gospels and other books of the Bible so that they could spread in the gospel and they could evangelize in these territories to these people. They were remarkably successful in those areas I mentioned before, like I said, Poland, what we would call today the Czech Republic, all those kinds of places, Eastern Europe. They were remarkably successful. And part of the reason was they did not use Greek or Latin. Now, all 27 books of the New Testament are written in Greek, and Latin was the language of the church. But they knew that the people they were ministering to knew neither of those languages, but they did know the Slavic tongue. And so they were able to take the Slavic tongue, write it down, come up with this alphabet, and then put it out there. And so they were able to be very successful evangelizers in their own regard. Now, unfortunately, Cyril's going to die long before Methodius does, and Methodius is going to run into a little bit of problems when he's alone. There's going to be some controversy that he's not really aligned with the Church of Rome, partly because of the language, not using Latin, but eventually, in the end, he's going to be vindicated, and he's going to be successful in his own right. But two remarkably important people to know, Cyril and Methodius, because for a lot of reasons. Their zeal of faith, their willingness to evangelize, the idea of coming up with an alphabet in order way to communicate. Can we come up with ways to communicate our faith to those who don't speak the language, so to speak? Remarkable, but also in terms of the universality of the church. The idea that God, that Christ is for all people in all times and all places. Is just remarkable. So again, two great guys to get to know. Don't forget Valentine. Look it up. Watch him in a past episode, and you can pray with him and to him. That's fine. But Cyril and Methodius are the ones who are going to populate your February 14th date on the liturgical calendar. So if you'd like to share this content, that would be great. We'd love it if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. But either way, please keep tuning in every Friday for Fish on Fridays. Until next time, please be good to each other, and God bless.